Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you are passionate about media accountability, modern cultural shifts, and seeing truth triumph over relentless institutional bias, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and click the notification bell. We dive deep into the narratives that shape our world, and today we are breaking down one of the most satisfying, sweeping moments of vindication in modern royal history. We recently marked the momentous milestone, Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, celebrating their 7th and entering their 8th year of marriage. As this milestone passes, we are witnessing a spectacular, slow-motion collapse of the traditional royal press pack. The very royalists who built an entire cottage industry predicting the immediate, catastrophic failure of this relationship are completely crumbling under the weight of their own historical archive. Time is the ultimate truth teller. It strips away the carefully manufactured authority of talking heads and exposes the naked bias underneath. It is hilarious and profoundly satisfying to look back at the absolute certainty of these so-called experts who claim to have an exclusive track on the couple's destiny. 10 years after the world first learned of their connection, the old guard of royal reporting is still getting it wrong on a daily basis, and the internet has kept every single receipt. To fully appreciate the magnitude of this vindicated moment, we have to look back at the foundational skepticism that defined the early days of the Sussexes' romance. Veteran royal commentator and former palace press secretary Dickie Arbiter took to social media to loudly, confidently, and completely dismiss the relationship before the entire world. He didn't just express mild doubt, he used definitive, patronizing language to assure the public that this bond had no future, tweeting that it was only an alleged romance, telling people to not hold their breath because it wasn't going to happen. Oh, the irony is just delicious. For those who might not remember the media climate of late 2016, the British press and its rotating roster of legacy commentators were in a state of absolute denial. When news first broke that Prince Harry was dating a successful American, biracial actress and humanitarian, the establishment's knee-jerk reaction was to dismiss it as a fleeting, inconsequential anomaly. It is mind-blowing to witness that level of public confidence paired with such total, unmitigated inaccuracy. Why were commentators like Arbiter so completely sure of themselves? It stems from a profound systemic delusion, an insider fallacy built on a belief that having spent decades within the rigid, traditional framework of Buckingham Palace gives an individual an infallible understanding of human hearts and modern motivations. They suffered from a conformity bias, assuming that Prince Harry would ultimately submit to the institutional pressures that had dictated the romantic lives of royals for generations, paired with a fundamental inability to recognize Meghan's independence, intellect, and global stature as assets. Now, as we cross into the territory of their 8th-year wedding anniversary, Dickie Arbiter and his contemporaries are still visibly reeling. He's probably sitting somewhere scratching his head, staring at his old articles, wondering how his definitive proclamations fell so completely flat. That phrase, "it ain't gonna happen," has aged beautifully. It stands as a permanent, digital monument to the failure of the legacy media's predictive powers. Imagine being that loudly wrong in public, having your words immortalized in the permanent digital archive of the internet, and still walking around acting like an objective authority on the lives of the Sussex family. It is a level of institutional boldness that would almost be admirable if it weren't so entirely ridiculous. What makes this media phenomenon even more fascinating is that this unearned confidence isn't isolated to a single individual. It seems that this specific brand of smug entitlement runs directly in the family, while actual journalistic accuracy completely skipped a generation. Arbiter's daughter, Victoria Arbiter, also stepped into the family business of royal commentary, carrying forward the same legacy of speaking with absolute, unwavering certainty about lives, emotions, and dynamics she knows nothing about. This shared familial trait, the tendency to issue authoritative, often highly negative judgments on Prince Harry and Meghan's relationship, has been consistently dismantled by reality. History has proven them wrong at every single turn. The sheer embarrassment of having your professional brand tied to a 10-year streak of incorrect predictions must be incredibly hard to stomach. Yet instead of offering a quiet, dignified retreat or a much-needed masterclass in humility, the commentators double down. They move the goalposts. When the breakup didn't happen after year 1, they said year 3. When year 3 brought a thriving family and a historic move to California, they predicted ruin by year 5. Now, reaching nearly a decade of shared life, the critics have entirely run out of road. This is exactly what happens when you bet against true love, shared values, and mutual determination. Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex just keep shutting down haters without even having to open their mouth to address them directly. They don't need to engage in petty media spats. Their life, their happiness, their peace, and their enduring marriage speak volumes louder than any bitter tweet or tabloid column ever could. From the very beginning, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex faced an unprecedented barrage of skepticism, often thinly disguised as expert analysis or traditional institutional concern. The media apparatus wasn't just predicting a breakup, they were actively rooting for one. They weaponized the machinery of the British tabloids to create a hostile environment that would test the breaking point of any relationship, let alone one under a global microscope. But the critics made a fundamental and fatal miscalculation. They assumed that by turning up the heat, they would melt the bond. Instead, they forged it into steel. Every milestone the Sussexes pass is another quiet victory against the noise of the skeptics. When you look back at the comprehensive timeline of how this saga unfolded, the sheer confidence of the royal commentators becomes even more absurd. They genuinely believed they could dictate the narrative. They thought they possessed the cultural power to manifest the downfall of a genuine connection simply because it did not fit into their traditional, rigid, highly managed boxes. We are currently witnessing a massive structural shift in the media landscape. The very people who stake their professional reputations, their book deals, and their TV segments on predicting a quick, messy divorce are now forced to sit in silence and watch the couple thrive entirely on their own terms. The dynamics of power have completely inverted. The old guard has lost access and no longer receives carefully leaked palace briefings regarding the couple's personal lives. Furthermore, the Sussexes have established an independent media ecosystem via Arkwell Productions and global philanthropic networks that bypasses traditional royal reporters entirely. The public has grown weary of the predictable, repetitive negativity of legacy royalists, leading to a sharp decline in the credibility of these experts. The reality is that the global public remembers these receipts, even if the commentators wish they would disappear into the deepest, darkest depths of the internet archive. Every anniversary that passes isn't just a private celebration for Harry and Meghan. It stands as a direct, undeniable contradiction of the stories that were spun for years. People like Dickie Arbiter built a platform on being the ultimate insiders, yet they failed to understand the most profound, elemental truth of this relationship: its profound resilience. Watching the critics scramble to move the goalposts every time Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex achieve another milestone or celebrate another year of family life has become a true masterclass in media backpedaling. What makes this entire era of vindication so deeply satisfying is the sheer contrast in dignity between the two sides of this narrative. While the commentators shouted their doubts from the rooftops, printing sensationalized headlines and typing out bitter tweets, Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex quietly focused on what actually mattered. They focused on building a rock-solid foundation, raising their two beautiful children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, and launching global initiatives that actually impact the world positively. You can feel that sense of grounding in everything they do now, from their Arkwell Foundation work to the quiet way they choose to celebrate these major life milestones away from the glitz and glamour, tucked away in the warmth of their own home. And speaking of their home life, can we just talk a little bit more about Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet singing to them? It is just the most beautiful image to picture. You have Archie, who is getting so big now, probably leading the tune with all the proud confidence of an older brother, and little Lilibet joining in with her sweet high voice. For Harry and Meghan Sussex, hearing those voices singing in their living room must feel like the ultimate validation that every single sacrifice they made was entirely worth it. They didn't just build a house in California. They built a sanctuary of joy, a place where the children can just be kids, surrounded by nature, laughter, and an abundance of love. It is a childhood free from the heavy, suffocating constraints of royal protocol, where a parental anniversary isn't a state occasion, but a moment for family cuddles, sweet songs, and homemade cake. That is the real victory here, the quiet, everyday happiness they have successfully claimed for themselves. It is also so fascinating to look back at Claire White-Keller's reflections and realize how that sense of intimacy was present from the very beginning, even when the rest of the world was looking at the grand pageantry. Claire noted how deeply human the experience was, and that is exactly what resonated with millions of us watching at home. When Prince Harry lifted Meghan Sussex's veil at the altar and whispered to her, the rest of the world just completely faded away. In that moment, it wasn't about the crowns, the titles, or the historical significance of St. George's Chapel. It was just a man looking at the woman he loved, completely captivated by her presence. That dress, with its clean lines and open bateau neckline, allowed Meghan Sussex's natural warmth and radiant spirit to shine through effortlessly. It was a design that refused to hide the woman behind the royal role, signaling to the world that she was entering this space as her authentic, true self. That authenticity is exactly why people around the globe remain so deeply invested in their story. We have watched them grow from newlyweds navigating an intense public spotlight into a formidable united team of global advocates and devoted parents. They have taken the bricks thrown at them and used them to build a foundation of empathy, using their platform to highlight mental health, community upliftment, and gender equity. Through it all, the love story has remained the absolute anchor. Hearing about their 8th anniversary celebrations just reinforces that no matter how much their external world changes, the core of who they are together remains completely untouched. They are still those two people who fell in love over campfires in Botswana, still finding joy in the simple things, still celebrating each other with silly, meaningful gifts like penguin sculptures, and still finding their greatest happiness in the sweet voices of their children singing in the kitchen. It really does bring everything full circle, doesn't it? Standing there in their Montecito home, 8 years after the world watched them walk down that historic aisle, Harry and Meghan Sussex have proven that the foundation they built on pure, authentic love can withstand absolutely anything. When you see Harry walking into the kitchen, keeping it completely casual in his tracksuits, holding that beautiful lemon and elderflower cake, which is a literal replica of their actual wedding cake, you just realize how beautifully grounded they are. He is singing away, making his wife laugh, and the kids are right there, joining in, jumping up and down, telling them to blow out the candles. It is just pure, unadulterated family bliss. And then watching Meghan Sussex open that beautiful bronze penguin sculpture and get genuinely emotional as she explains the history to Archie and Lilibet, showing them the picture of their mama and papa dancing in penguin onesies at their secret engagement party, it just reminds you that they've always been this beautifully quirky, deeply connected team. They chose each other for life, and they've protected that promise with every ounce of their strength. What makes this milestone feel even more momentous is how beautifully it weaves together their past and their present. On the exact same day that they're laughing in their kitchen and setting up that gorgeous sculpture in their foyer, Meghan Sussex also gifted the world a breathtaking look back, sharing those stunning, never-before-seen photos from their wedding night at Frogmore House. Seeing those intimate, candid black and white snapshots of them laughing, making goofy faces, and Harry dipping her on the dance floor to Wilson Pickett's Land of a Thousand Dances just fills your heart. It completely matches what Claire White-Keller said about the day feeling so profoundly human. They were just two people madly in love, breaking royal protocol to give heartfelt speeches to their closest friends, promising to build a family that would stand the test of time. And looking at them now, 8 years later, they fulfilled every single word of that promise. They didn't just survive the global storm, they triumphed, creating a life completely on their own terms, where love wins every single day. It's a beautiful reminder for all of us that no matter how loud the outside noise gets, the things that truly matter are the ones inside your own four walls. The quiet laughter, the shared history, the silly inside jokes, and the sweet voices of your children singing in the kitchen. Harry and Meghan Sussex have built a real sanctuary, a life rooted in purpose, family, and an immovable devotion to one another. They have shown the world that you can step away from tradition to protect your peace, and that building a home filled with genuine happiness is the greatest achievement of all. As we wrap up this special celebration of their 8th anniversary, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you for being here, for riding these beautiful waves of joy with us, and for constantly supporting this lovely community. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a thumbs up, and share this episode with anyone who needs a little reminder today that true love really does conquer all. See you in the next one.